Hey guys, how's it going? Spooky Scary Sunday, you're right on time. And I just want to... Hold on 1 second. Hello.
Corey,
Yes, this is he.
you know I'm coming for you, right? Yeah.
Edward Norton.
How'd you know?
So you're finally free.
Yeah. What about it?
And have access to a telephone.
Yeah. That's what I'm calling you on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, you had a debt to pay.
No!
I have no regrets.
I'm coming for you.
If you want to come, you know where I am.
I do know where you are, and I'm coming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you too.
Yeah, when you... What?
Well, it seems next week we're gonna have ourselves a little visitor. Oh guys, before we get started, I want to show you something. Hopefully you're excited for a little Mortal Kombat 11 tomorrow. I got sent this scorpion mask from WB. So yeah, guys, if you're excited for Mortal Kombat 11 Part 1 dropping tomorrow, you already know what to do with that like button. So without further ado, there'll be no more interruptions. Let's get started. So if you don't know what Spooky Scary Sunday is by now, then hopefully you just subscribed, because we're getting new subscribers all the time, ladies and gentlemen. I don't want to assume that you've been here. If you just subscribed, then no worries. I'll explain in a second, but if you have been around and still don't know what Spooky Scary Sunday is, then how do I say this?
I'm actually
Going back, if you recently just subscribed and also hit the bell, I'll give you all a second. Spooky Scary Sunday is a show where every Sunday we come together as a samurai, our small little tribe on YouTube. We sit back, relax, grab some snacks, and I watch some scary videos sent in by you guys via Twitter using the hashtag Spooky Scary Sunday. Go to Twitter, follow me at Coryxkenshin, you already know. Hashtag Spooky Scary Sunday and link the scariest story that you know. And if your story gets picked, you get a shout out. So go ahead and get you a box of ding dongs, maybe a 2-liter of Burners, you know, that's a Detroit favorite. Or if you some UK samurai, some Jaffa cakes. So with all that being said, first video. This next one is called True Omegle Chat Room Horror Story, and it was uploaded by Horror Shorts Party. Now this was sent to us by Chris Samurai. What's going on, my brother? And he said this one kept me up at night, so it better be scary, Chris. By the way, did you see the 7 mil special, Chris? The Cooking with Kenshin yesterday? A lot of work went into that video, Chris. Why don't you go ahead and watch that if you didn't? And if you did, go ahead and slice that like button on this video. I appreciate you, Chris. Horror Shorts Party. True Omegle Chat Room Horror Story.
This story happened to me a couple years ago. It happened on a Saturday night. I was typing out a school report for my English class and was pretty worn out from the tedious amount of thinking that transpired throughout the paper.
Okay.
I decided to take a break and procrastinate a little bit, maybe watch a couple of YouTube videos.
Hold on. Let me rewind that. What was he watching?
Stop right there. Did you wash your hands, mister? Oh, Jimmy. What did I do about not washing your hands?
Yo, that's what's up, man. We got a samurai right here.
I needed to take some stress off my mind, but didn't really have anyone to vent or talk to. This gave me the idea to visit a chat room called Omegle.
Bad idea.
For those of you who don't know what Omegle is, it's a chat room where you can literally video chat with random strangers online through your computer webcam. Needless to say, Omegle definitely helped with my social skills growing up as a child, so I was always active on it.
Wow.
I remember this one particular night. I was having trouble meeting new people. This left me a little frustrated, to say the least, but that's the kind of thing to expect when you're on these kind of chat sites. That's when I stumbled upon this one guy. He looked to be
I'm clicking next.
around the same age group as myself, and seemed like a pretty harmless individual. I decided to say hi. He didn't say anything back, he just typed the word hi in the chat box.
Oh, no microphone.
I found it kind of weird that he would go through the effort of typing out hi as opposed to just saying hi verbally. He then waved at me and began typing something else.
Might not have a microphone.
He introduced himself in the chat box saying, "My name is Daniel, what's your name?" I verbally said, "My name is James, how are you?" He then stares at the camera and doesn't say a word to me, completely dismissing the fact that I just asked him a question.
Hello?
At this point, I was convinced that this had to be some sort of pre-recorded video and that someone was just trolling me. That's when he began typing in the chat box again, saying, "I'm deaf. Please type in the chat box unless..."
Oh, I feel bad now. I'm like, hello? Open your ears, you freaking moron.
You know, sign language. I honestly felt stupid and immediately typed, "No worries, my name is James," and gave a quick thumbs up as an act of kind gesture. He immediately typed back saying, "Nice to meet you, James," and gave me a thumbs up as well.
All right.
He then typed something else that left me dumbfounded. He said, "I will use my whiteboard to chat with you going forward because my hands will be occupied."
Huh?
I was confused by what he meant by that, so I typed, "What do you mean by your hands being occupied?" He then starts writing on a whiteboard and raises it up on the screen, which read, "Want to play a game?"
No, I'm going...
I typed, "Sure, what game you want to play?" What he did next is something I will never forget to this day. He held a revolver up with one hand and the whiteboard up with the other hand, saying, "Let's play Russian roulette." I was honestly quite creeped out by this guy and was contemplating on clicking the stop option to skip this weirdo. That's when he wrote another message on the whiteboard saying, "1 of 6. I was confused by what 1 of 6 meant.
Rounds, idiot.
He then took the revolver, slipped one bullet inside the cylinder, and began spinning it with his other hand. I now knew what he meant by 1 of 6. It seemed like the guy was about to demonstrate an act of Russian roulette with one bullet in the cylinder of 6. He then puts the revolver against his head.
Oh!
I began typing, "What are you doing? Please stop this." The guy then smiles disturbingly on the camera and pulls the trigger. Nothing happened. He starts laughing hysterically like a psycho. I was honestly disturbed, but also skeptical that the gun was real, so I typed, "Is that even real?" He then points the revolver at the wall and begins to repeatedly press the trigger until the shot was fired. I was completely blown away by what I was seeing and typed, "Dude, you could have died!" That's when the guy raised the whiteboard to the screen again.
Yo, this is good. I just had to pause like...
Showing the message, 5 of 6.
What?
I frantically started typing, "Don't do it," repeatedly in the chat box, desperately trying to get his attention. He then began loading the revolver with 5 bullets while I gestured no by waving my hands back and forth like a lunatic.
He's dead.
I knew the odds of him surviving this time were slim to none. He then raises the revolver against his head once again and begins to disturbingly smile, with tears running down his face. He began mumbling the words, "It was nice meeting you, James." I immediately slammed my laptop shut as I hear a gunshot a split second before the laptop was fully closed. I was left baffled on my computer desk. I hadn't a clue what to do. I stupidly opened my laptop with my eyes closed. I pressed my hand against the screen where the video chat was located. I opened my eyes, and through the cracks of my fingers, I can see blood displayed everywhere on his screen. I immediately clicked the exit button on the Google Chrome tab and call it a night. To this day, I'm still skeptical about what I saw that night. I haven't reported anything to the police, nor have I reported anything to Omegle. I'm not sure if that was the wisest decision, but I hope I never encounter anyone like that again.
Horror shorts party? That was incredible. He said 5 of 6? Sucker, can you do math? 5 of 6, what is that, like an 83%? Let me check that real quick. Hey Siri, what's 5 divided by 6?
5 divided by 6 is about 0.8333.
Did I just off the top of my head that? Anyways, he had a 17% chance of walking out of that. I'm not making no bet where I only get a 17% chance of winning. Now, this next one is called True Trick or Treat Horror Story, and it was uploaded by Horror Shorts Party. So once again, you know it's gonna be a banger. Now this was sent to us by Ladarian, who said, "Please reply to me, it will make my day." Well, your day's been made, brother. Take this positive energy that you feel. Take this moment and harness it. Harness it into a ball of pure, concentrated energy. Now, absorb it and accomplish all of your goals. Ooh, they setting the mood. They setting the mood. Oh! I know y'all see him. Narrated by none other than Terrence Nicholson. Voice acting is about to be on point automatically. Favorite voice actor ever.
This story happened a couple years ago when I was in my early teens. It all started when I went to the movies with my friend Sam to go see the world premiere of The Dark Knight. The movie garnered a lot of notoriety at the time, obviously due to Heath Ledger's leading role as the Joker. I personally thought it was the greatest movie I had ever seen, considering I've seen almost every Batman movie that ever existed. I decided to buy some Dark Knight merchandise at the vendor
Terrence Nicholson shop
was located in the theater. What appealed most was how cheap the Batman masks were selling for. I didn't have a Halloween costume picked out for October yet, and neither did my friend Sam. We both
Easter egg.
collectively purchased one mask each and figured it would make for an easy costume to trick-or-treat with. I can honestly say it was an astronomical improvement from the cliche bedsheet over the head ghost I was last year. Fast forward to October 31st. Me and Sam both wore our Batman masks and began going door to door, looking for an opportunity to fill our candy sacks faster than any other trick-or-treater on the block. Trick or treat! Well, happy Halloween, Batman. I mean, Batman. That's it? Lame.
What you say? Boy, I'll snatch that bag out your freaking hands. Get off my porch.
That's it? Lame.
Get the hell off my property, you ungrateful twerps!
The majority of the houses were pretty
Yeah.
generous, with the exception of a few bad apples, to say the least. On this particular night, there wasn't many houses that had their lights on, which generally meant that they didn't really celebrate Halloween, or in other words, they weren't giving out candy.
Facts.
Me and Sam were understandably upset considering we'd been walking for at least an hour. I continued trick-or-treating while Sam began to head home through the pit located in the middle of the neighborhood.
Why didn't I just stay home and watch SpongeBob?
The
SpongeBob never gonna be the same.
pit was just a fancy nickname for the forest reserve, which was generally used for nature walks during the day. But me and Sam went there solely for the sake of a shortcut home. I began walking about half a block down when I see more houses without their lights on. Screw this, I'm going home. I eventually approached the pit while beating myself over the head for not leaving at the same time as Sam. As I entered the pit, I instantly had second thoughts of taking the longer route, as this route seemed nothing short of irresponsible and dangerous.
Yeah.
I ultimately decided to man up and continue walking through the pit, as I didn't want to prolong my already dreadful night. Why the hell did I have to take this route? I can barely see anything.
Right.
I knew I should have dressed up as a skateboarder. I would have been home already. I remember the pit being so dark to the point where I could virtually see nothing except for whatever my cell phone light was illuminating.
No.
What the
Not
hell
that
was
clown
that?
again.
I began walking faster as I could hear faint sounds of what sounded like a maniac clown laughing.
What the hell? Who's there? Who's there?
At this point, I was so
it's the
petrified
McDonald's
I
clown.
instinctively dropped my candy due to the adrenaline rush flowing through my body. I couldn't care less about the candy, as I genuinely felt like my life was in danger.
Run!
That's when I saw the source of the laughter standing a few feet in front of me. It was a man dressed as the Joker from the Batman movie I saw previously. He honestly looked like an exact replica of Heath Ledger's with a hint of blood on his costume. What made this more disturbing was how casual his demeanor was. He just stood there smiling at me like my appearance was amusing to him.
No.
I didn't want to express the fear I felt internally, so I tried to playfully marvel at his costume and say, "Hey there, I really like your Joker costume." No matter how hard I tried to keep a composed poker face, my body language and mannerisms couldn't help but show the fear that bled inside of me.
Bro.
He then took a couple
Nope.
steps closer to me as I began to cautiously take a few steps backwards.
Hey man, what the hell do you want from me?
Why so serious? Happy Halloween. The man surprisingly walks past me while I watch him in complete shock. What the hell was that? Was that some real-life Joker? At this point, I continued walking home while looking back every 2 seconds to make sure the man wasn't lurking behind me. I eventually make it home and watch a couple of YouTube videos, trying to forget the creepy encounter that just took place. That's when my dad pops into my room and asks me to answer the house phone. Hey, Mark, answer the house phone. Hello?
Hey, Mark, is Sam still with you?
That's when I felt my heart drop to my stomach.
Oh, that was his friend.
No, he left to go home way before I did.
Oh my god, why would you leave without him? He's not even home!
Sam's parents end up calling the police,
my
which
fault.
resulted in an entire block search party. What came of such an innocent Halloween night turned into a nightmare. Sam's remains were eventually found in the pit. I haven't trick-or-treated since, and I still live with the regret of not leaving at the same time as my friend. I informed law enforcement about the bizarre encounter with the man I saw that night. Call it speculation or whatever you want, but I know the death of my friend Sam had something to do with that sick man. Or should I say, the Joker.
My god, why? Why did you take my son from me?
This is horrible.
Oh my god! God, why? Why did you take my son from me? Police are looking for any witnesses to come forward in the connection of a deadly homicide of a teen. The victim's remains were found at the local park observatory. The suspect is described to be approximately 6 feet tall, Caucasian, and was last seen wearing purple attire with a green vest and tie. Police say the suspect is described to have face paint imitating the Joker from the blockbuster hit The Dark Knight. If anyone has any tips, please contact your local
Batman,
law
where was
enforcement
you?
and shall remain anonymous.
What?
All right, Karen, back to you.
Oh, wait. She was from that other thing we watched. Oh, I love how all his animations are connected. She was from the other one. Look at him. Sick.
Trick or treat! Well, happy Halloween, Batman. I mean, Batman. That's it?
Whoa! Y'all see what happens when you ungrateful?
Lame.
Get the hell off my property, you ungrateful twerps!
Also for this week, it's called A True Paranormal Activity Horror Story. It was uploaded by Horror Shorts Party, one of my favorite animators. This was sent to us by Hey John's Apples, I think that's how you say, and it said we watched it at night and it was disturbing. So, let's jump straight in, shall we? So, Australian, bruh, like, I think I was born in Australia and I just didn't even know. Don't you think so? Outback.
This is the most terrifying thing that has ever happened to me. I want to share my story with the world,
Alright.
now that I have closure.
Oh,
It all started...
it is my favorite voice actor, Terrence Nicholson. Yo, this dude is fire, man. If you know, you know. That's all I gotta say.
I immediately grabbed my cell phone to call the cops, but my hands were trembling so much that I actually wasn't capable of dialing anything. Trevor, I am not loving it!
A couple years ago when I was living with Sarah for the sake of the story. I remember we were both in the living room watching a movie. We usually did movie nights on Fridays, and it was my turn to select which movie we get to watch. I was personally a horror fanatic, so I chose a horror film.
Good pick.
It was pretty late in the night when this occurred, so it really made the movie that much more intense. Sarah wasn't really into the horror genre, so you can imagine the kind of reaction she had throughout the movie. Midway into the movie, Sarah asked if I could walk her to the bedroom. I reply by saying, sure, after the movie's done.
You know I don't like horror. Please just walk me to the bedroom. I'm scared, Trevor.
We can leave when the movie's done. I sat through your whole movie last week, so it's only fair that you finish mine.
Please don't do this to me. I'm really scared, Trevor.
quit being a chicken. I'm not leaving the couch till this movie's done.
Dang, he kind of.
I hate you!
Dang!
Sarah angrily gets up and heads to the bedroom on her own while
When your mom tell you you can't get that new Coryxkenshin merch?
I hate you!
When McDonald's shake machine broke?
I hate you!
Sarah angrily gets up and heads to the bedroom on her own while I continue watching the movie and mentally prepare myself for the argument that awaited me. About 10 minutes later, my throat begins to itch, so I decide to get a bottle of water in the kitchen. As I stood up from the couch, I get startled as I see Sarah standing in the darkness of the hallway. Sarah, you scared me. I thought you were in bed sleeping. Sarah just stands there with her eyes wide open, gazing into my eyes with her emotionless expression, almost like she was looking into the depths of my soul. I assume she was still upset about earlier, so I said, "I'll be waiting in bed," as I casually walk past her. As I open the bedroom door, I see Sarah laying in bed asleep.
Whoa.
My mind raced with mixed emotions of confusion and absolute horror. I could have sworn I just saw her. I decide to peek outside the hallway, only to see nothing. This can't be real. I could have sworn I just saw her.
You did.
I must be hallucinating.
You
I
did.
just need to stop watching scary movies this late at night. I disregard what had just occurred and crawled into bed with Sarah.
Make sure that's the real one.
At 3 a.m. in the morning, I wake up to a loud sound which sounded like glass being shattered. I noticed Sarah was no longer in bed with me, which I found quite bizarre as it was very uncharacteristic for her to be awake at this time of night. I could hear weird noises coming from the washroom outside the bedroom. I cautiously get up and began to approach the washroom. I could hear Sarah in there. It sounded like she was talking to someone, or something.
The voodoo chant.
I opened the door, only to discover the most terrifying thing I had ever laid eyes on. I can see Sarah standing in the bathtub covered in blood. She had smashed the mirror and used the broken shards to lacerate her body entirely. She then began yelling the words,
"I hate you! I hate you! I hate you!"
Her voice was demonic. I was thoroughly convinced that this was not my girlfriend and that she had been possessed by some sort of evil entity.
Yeah.
I stood there quivering, not being able to move a muscle out of shell shock. Sarah then pulls the shower curtain, unveiling a message on the wall which spelled, "I hate you,"
I get it.
written in blood.
I heard you.
My legs go completely numb as I collapse to the floor. Sarah then picks up a...
my. How many of y'all, when you get scared, literally fold yourself like an omelet?
Sarah? Sarah, oh my gosh, what's happening?
Sarah then picks up a large piece of the broken mirror and yells one last time in her demonic voice,
I hate you!
She then pierces the shard across my chest repeatedly, stabbing and stabbing and
Oh
stabbing.
my gosh!
I remember seeing a bright white light as my life flashed before me. That's when I open my eyes and wake up to a movie playing in the living room. This isn't the horror movie I played earlier. Must have been a movie Sarah put on. I checked the time and it was exactly 3 a.m. I looked to my right only to see Sarah staring dead at me with a grimacing look. What's wrong, Sarah?
This is the third time you fell asleep to the movie that I picked on movie night. I hate you.
Don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say it.
Sarah?
Run!
Sarah?
Do y'all see why this man is my favorite voice actor? That I really enjoyed that animation. Next one is called True McDonald's Night Shift Horror Story, and it was uploaded by Horror Shorts Party. Hey, what's good, Horror Shorts? Now this is sent to us by Central Bios 92, who said it would be a big mistake to work any night shift at McDonald's. Hey, you don't gotta worry about that unless my YouTube go down the drain. Then you might see your boy serving up Happy Meals after hours. What? Horror Shorts Party. Hey, they make some really good ones. We watched that Deep Web one.
This happened to me when I was working at McDonald's. My boss assigned a schedule amongst our staff. I was unfortunately scheduled for the night shift on Fridays. I didn't usually mind as we didn't get a whole lot of business around this time of night. My boss was pretty laid back and didn't mind if I went on my phone during business hours.
That's dope.
So long as I got all my work done.
Hey.
I remember dozing off repeatedly due to the fact that I wasn't fully acclimated with the night shift hours. Psst. That's when I heard someone making a psst sound. The kind of sound you make when you try to draw someone's attention. I notice a customer trying to make an order outside, so I quickly greet them with my usual, "Hi, welcome to McDonald's. May I take your order?" I then heard a man say,
One Whopper, please. Yes, I would like one Whopper.
Sir, welcome to McDonald's, home of the Big Mac. That's like working at Panda Express and somebody walk up and ask for a taco.
Whopper, please.
I couldn't tell if he was being a smart ass or not, so I ended up saying, "This isn't Burger King, sir. We don't serve that here."
Right.
I heard him chuckling profusely after I said that.
What's funny? Go to Burger King.
I quickly checked the security camera, only to see a clown. The clown
Ronald?
was standing in front of the drive-thru menu without a car. It's not Halloween, why the hell is this guy dressed up like that? I really didn't want to serve this guy, so I decided to use our company policy as a plausible excuse for him to exit the premises. "Hi, sir. Unfortunately, you need to be in a vehicle in order to purchase something here."
If you don't have a Whopper, I'll take a Baconator instead.
Oh, you think you at Wendy's,
I now
huh?
could tell this guy was some random psycho harassing me. I instinctively yelled,
Get the hell out of here before I call the cops!
I cautiously stick my...
This voice actor, same as in that Deep Web story. He got the most energy, dude.
Get the hell out of here before I call the cops!
I cautiously stick my head out the window, only to see the clown no longer there. A couple hours later, near the end of my shift, I notify my boss and fellow employees regarding the situation. They all dismiss my accusations by saying ignorant things like,
When your little sibling comes into your room.
Get the hell out of here before I call the cops!
Oh my goodness. Oh. Okay.
A couple hours later, near the end of my shift, I notify my boss and fellow employees regarding the situation. They all dismiss my accusations by saying ignorant things like, "Did you get his autograph?" Or,
"Wow,
it was probably some guy that thought it was Halloween." I annoyingly pretend to be amused and head home. The following Friday, it was my time to work the night shift again.
No.
I really dreaded working this shift, especially after what transpired that day. I tried to convince myself that it would be highly unlikely that I'd encounter that clown again.
Please.
As time went on, I remember dozing off as I get startled by
always
another
going to sleep.
Sound. I urgently check the security camera, but don't see anyone present.
Oh no, he's
At
inside.
this point, I genuinely thought I was hearing things due to my subconscious mind thinking about the clown. My paranoia must have been at the peak of its height. That's when I turn my head towards the drive-thru window, only to see the clown staring dead at me.
Ew.
If you don't make me a Big Mac, I will kill you.
You got money?
My heart sank to my stomach. The clown knew my name! I immediately grabbed my cell phone to call the cops, but my hands were trembling so much that I actually wasn't capable of dialing anything. The clown started screaming my name, Trevor, repeatedly.
Trevor, 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 I am not loving it! Trevor, 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 Trevor!
I see blood dripping down from his head. I started shouting from the top of my lungs.
Leave me alone or I will call the cops!
The clown runs away as another car approaches the drive-thru lot. I stupidly resume work and...
Yeah, imagine. After all of that, leave me alone before I call the cops! Hi, welcome to McDonald's. How may I help you?
wait for my boss to come in. Upon his arrival, I explain the entire situation to him. He then dismisses me by saying, "Don't sweat it, kid. It was probably some drunk. You can go home now." As he was talking, I noticed a cut on his forehead.
What?
I could even see blood start to drip from it. No. It can't be. Bye, Trevor.
No! No! No!
Now this next one is called True Chuck E. Cheese Horror Story. Chuck E. Cheese! And this was uploaded by Horror Shorts Party, so I'm expecting greatness. Now this was sent to us by Kayla, who said, if you weren't already scared of Chuck E. Cheese, then watch this. I'm not scared of Chuck E. Cheese. Freddy Fazbear, that's a totally different situation. But Kayla, for submitting this story and for Samurai slicing that like button, I present to you a strawberry flavored Nutri-Grain bar. Open up. Kayla, it's real simple, right? When you eating something, you just let me see you do that.
This video is brought to you by NordVPN.
Nah, we skipped that. Y'all acting like y'all be actually watching my sponsors. Nobody be watching my sponsors, and I'll be trying to make them fun for y'all, doing the whole Ma! What? Like, but y'all, I know y'all be skipping them. Just know, YouTubers do sponsors because we need money. Now, some of y'all think I only make videos when I need more money. But let me tell you something. I don't need no more money. You see all these Nutri-Grain bars on my desk? Do you see the drip? Damn. Need I say more? If I do a sponsor, it's because I'm probably about to give that money away to somebody else. Get into it. Let's get into it. Who narrating today? Who narrating? Singer Turner's Nicholson.
I've been holding on to this for a couple of years now. I feel like I need to get it off my chest. I had a few years to digest this, and now I'm ready to share my story with the world.
Speak.
I wish to remain anonymous, so for the sake of this story, my name will be Danny. The details of this story remain vivid, but somewhat foggy, as I try to reminisce on the distant memories that occurred a couple of years ago.
Okay.
It all started when me and my parents resided together in an old townhouse, which was located in a neighborhood notorious for having a high crime rate.
Yeah, it looked pretty trashy.
I never liked living there, and neither did my parents, but it was the only thing that we could afford at the time.
Okay.
My parents were a little rough around the edges, considering they had both been through a lot in their younger years. My dad has had a few run-ins with the law.
Yo dad looked like the type of dude you don't want to share a cell with. Look at his elbow. Bent forwards. Y'all know what that mean.
While my mom lost both her parents at a very young age.
Dang.
So seeing them edgy at times didn't faze me at all.
Well, I'm doing my best, alright?
Can you do something else? What you're doing isn't working.
I'd like to see you do better.
Well,
Dang.
do better, damn it!
Shut the hell up already. I'm tired of hearing you nag all day.
You shut up, you bum!
Almost every night, I could hear the constant back and forth bickering that occurred for hours on end between my parents.
You don't want to hear that.
They would always fight over what I assumed to be financial related issues, which had only gotten worse over the years. My parents both didn't really make much money on their respective jobs, so hearing them argue was almost a daily occurrence. I was always scared that things would turn violent, especially with the way these two went at it.
Uh-oh.
I can make out my mom saying,
If you don't get a real job, I'm taking Danny and we're moving out!
What in the hell are you talking about? He doesn't even like you.
Shut up! Shut up! Shut the hell up!
I remember hearing sounds of my mom opening up the kitchen drawers,
Knife?
which led me to assume she was searching for something sharp and potentially do the unthinkable.
Run out there.
That's when I decided to head downstairs and mediate the feud.
Break it up, break it up.
Hopefully put it to rest. As I approached the kitchen, I could see my mom holding a huge knife in an overhand grip.
Mom?
The kind of grip that someone uses in preparation of stabbing someone.
Mom, what are you doing?
I could also see my dad holding one of the dining room chairs, in which I assumed was his defense mechanism.
What are you doing here, Danny? Didn't I tell you never to leave your room unless you have to use the washroom?
Mom?
I'm sorry, Mom, but I heard you and—
Go to your room, you little turd!
Don't—
Give me the knife, Mom. Give me the knife.
Go to your room, you little turd!
Don't call him that!
Don't tell me what to
Dad,
do,
my feelings are not
Mom,
hurt.
please don't kill Dad!
I said go to your room, Danny!
Leave Danny alone and put the knife away, Helen.
Mom!
That's when my mom began piercing the family portrait of us.
Mom got it.
Except she was only piercing the portion with my dad's face.
Yo.
Mom, stop! Please, stop it! It's been a couple weeks after the whole saga had occurred.
Yo.
My parents ended up getting a divorce, which unfortunately left me to reside with my mother.
Oh.
The court unfortunately ruled that my mom would be in favor of getting custody of me due to my dad's criminal history with the law.
Oh, man.
I honestly contemplated on running away due to how much I dreaded living.
Y'all know it's about to happen when you don't take the trash out, right? Imagine you forgot to take the trash out once. You gonna be all comfortable in bed, go open your eyes, just see your mom standing over you. Danny? Did you forget to take the trash out?
With her. Especially with how toxic and controlling her behavior was.
Toxic!
I would spend most of my time locked in my bedroom, sulking I couldn't live a normal life like the rest of the younger individuals in my neighborhood. Why in the hell do I have to live with her? Why couldn't I just live with Dad? He was always the better parent.
Dang.
I can't stand her. I wish she were dead.
Whoa! Whoa!
What made this even worse was the fact that I had a curfew during my school days. I didn't even have time to join any after-school clubs or sports teams due to the simple fact that I was too worried about not making it home on time.
Dang, bro.
I remember my mom locked me out of the house for several hours due to the fact that I was 5 minutes past my curfew.
CPS.
The one thing I found even more aggravating was how my mom permanently banned me from going to the local Chuck E. Cheese restaurant.
You're going too far. I was okay with you locking them outside of the house for a couple hours. No, that's fine. But you took Chuck E. Cheese away from my boy?
Down the street from my residence. For those that aren't familiar with Chuck E. Cheese, it's a restaurant that has arcade games and playrooms for younger crowds such as myself. I enjoyed going there, as it would bring back fond memories of when me and my dad used to go.
Chuck E. Cheese, where a kid can be a kid.
As it would bring back fond memories of when me and my dad used to go. I usually went to Chuck E. Cheese every time it was my birthday, just as a tradition my dad established when we all used to live together. But all of that is gone now. My mom took my entire childhood away from me, which I find equivalent to ripping my heart out of my chest.
Dang, bro.
She selfishly didn't want me going because she didn't want me to be reminded of my dad's existence.
That's deep.
The rules and restrictions I had to abide by really made it difficult to make any friends, which put me in a dark state of mind for the latter part of my life. There was one night where I decided to approach my mom and convince her to bring me to Chuck E. Cheese for my upcoming birthday. I honestly cared more about Chuck E. Cheese than my actual birthday itself, which is why I ended up using it as an excuse to go there.
Okay.
Hey, Mom, can we please go to Chuck E. Cheese for my...
No, Danny, I already told you this.
But it's for my birthday.
No.
I anticipated the rebuttal my mom was going to throw at me, but that didn't stop me from being persistent with my request. After a few tears and relentless...
Whoa! Coryxkenshin with the spooky scary Sunday? Or shortest part of you put me in? You should have. Samurai getting some recognition. That spooky scary Sunday, huh? Yeah, no. That's so fire, bro. Thank you so much, man. That's so cool.
My mom eventually caved in and agreed to take me there on my birthday.
Alright,
the exhilaration of going to Chuck E. Cheese after all these months was honestly something I would compare to an inmate getting released from jail.
Look at his eye.
I felt so excited, to the point where I didn't even care about anything else.
Yo!
Just me and the place that I once grew to love. My birthday eventually arrived, and it was time for me to finally visit Chuck E. Cheese once again.
Yo.
It was about the evening time, so the venue was usually packed to full capacity. I couldn't help but marvel at what was in front of me, as I genuinely felt I was a kid in a candy shop.
That guy! Y'all saw him?
I must be dreaming. I immediately started playing the arcade games while my mom wandered off to grab some food.
Enjoy yourself, buddy.
I remember being so hungry, but at the same time so infatuated with every arcade game that was in front of me.
Yeah, there we go.
I couldn't help but indulge in countless games, as I knew this could be my very last time at Chuck E. Cheese.
Yeah.
That's when I felt a strange tap on my shoulder.
What?
I turned towards the direction of where I felt the tap, only to see a large Chuck E. Cheese rat mascot hovering over me.
You alright?
I was a little alarmed that the mascot would approach me, considering there were hundreds of guests in attendance. Hey, Chucky? The mascot didn't say anything.
Bro.
He just stood there staring at me with his big elongated eyes.
What are you looking at?
I noticed he had red stains on his costume, which I assumed to be pizza stains.
Yeah, that's pizza sauce.
But then I noticed the stains had transferred onto the shoulder area of my shirt from the tap he did earlier.
Relax.
I now knew that these were definitely not pizza stains.
Why not?
They had to be blood stains of some sort. Chucky? Is she gone? Yeah, she is. Here, take my hand, Danny. I missed you, Dad. I missed you too, son.
What? Yo! This next one is called True Dark Web Horror Story, and it was uploaded by Horror Shorts Party. What's up? How you doing? Now, this was sent to us by your baby Bree, and this is the second week in a row someone named Bree sent in a story. To continue where I left off last week, I think Bree is a very pretty name. I don't meet a lot of Brees though. Like in real life, I just hit my mic. Y'all ever wonder what it sounds like if I just slap my mic? All right, I'm about to slap you. Okay, hold up. Oh. Sorry, I could be very tangential sometimes. Bree said, me and my boyfriend CJ watch you all the time. Shout out to Bree. Shout out to CJ. Let's get it popping. These intros, they just put you in a creepy... My gosh!
Story happened to me on a Thursday night when I was home alone in my apartment complex.
Bet.
I live with my roommate Josh, who was usually out with so that gave me the luxury of having the place to myself.
Freaking Josh.
I was video chatting with 3 classmates of mine on Facebook Messenger. Their names were Eric, Craig, and Cindy. This was my first interaction with them as our professor selected us to be in a group project together.
Okay.
Throughout the night, we brainstormed ideas while getting more acquainted with one another. This is when the story gets a bit weird.
How?
Eric spontaneously asked the group chat, "Hey guys, want to see something cool?"
No.
What is it?
"Getting an A+ in this project would be cool." "Sure, man, what's up?"
That's
Eric
me.
sends the group chat a photo. I click the chat icon and see a disturbing image of a woman with her arms and legs missing.
Listen, Eric, what are you sending this to me for? This is gonna be... Oh my... Y'all know what this is, right? No! It's one of those chain email things. Send this to 5 people or you die. Then those 5 people gotta send it to 5 more people or they die. Now it's 25 people that's sending this. Thank you. And that sneeze does not take away this serious moment.
What the hell?
Ew! Why are you sending us this?
Right!
Dude, where the hell did you get that photo?
I'll tell you, but you guys really need to keep this a secret. Promise me you won't tell anyone.
What are you, a killer?
This isn't marketing related, but okay, I guess.
Sure, dude. Please don't tell me you were the sicko who took that pic.
I didn't. I actually got the photo from the dark web.
Dude, you go on the dark web?
What's the dark web?
Bad idea, don't.
Supposedly it's this hidden part of the internet where you can buy illegal stuff. I personally wasn't that educated about the dark web, but I did hear rumors about it growing up. I've always acknowledged the existence of these kinds of things growing up, but I was still unaware as to what potential atrocities lie within the online world.
Bad one.
Eric then says,
Yeah, I just recently started getting into it. I found the photo from one of the forums I came across called Homemade Dolls. Here's the full-size picture.
He then sends us the exact same photo, except this time it had a description.
Homemade dolls? I want y'all to know that junk is real. That joke is real, man. I can't be convinced otherwise.
Box next to it with the title Doll Number 20. Why the hell, of all people, did I have to be in a group project with this
Eric?
The details in the description stated inhumane acts that can be performed on the victims before being shipped to their buyers. I felt pretty disgusted reading the dialogue, but I was still somewhat skeptical about the whole thing. It was hard to deny its legitimacy, though. The authenticity of the image looked too real to be a hoax.
To be honest, this looks photoshopped.
I don't know. It looks pretty real to me.
Yeah, Eric,
Dude,
don't send us no more of this bullcrap.
Why do you even go on sites like that?
Right.
Well, I only go on it occasionally. Midway through Eric's sentence, a random user joins the video chat.
Who is it?
Who's that? I don't know. I swear to God, we better not be getting hacked.
Eric, is this one of your stupid friends from the dark web? I'm gonna call the cops if it is.
That's when I decide to move my mouse cursor to exit the video chat.
It's stuck!
Why the hell isn't this working? Come on, work, damn it!
Turn your computer
My
off!
cursor was resisting to move no matter how many times I clicked or moved my mouse. That's when the random user's video turned on. It was a guy wearing a pig mask. The mask didn't look like some dollar store knockoff. It looked like the skinned face of an actual pig. He wore it like he was Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Hey, is anybody seeing what I'm seeing? Eric, dude, I really hope this isn't a stupid prank. It's not, dude. I don't even know who that is. Why is there a guy wearing a pig mask on my screen?
Guys, what's going on?
I don't know why, but something about that moment, I just knew. I was looking into the eyes of what true evil looks like. That's when my classmate's video chat completely froze. The only screen functioning was the pigman's. It seemed like our computers were being hijacked. I couldn't quite comprehend what was going on till I heard the pigman say, "Can you see me? Say yes if you can hear me."
Say it!
I reply with, "Yes, what do you want from me?" in an uncontrollable stutter.
You know that feeling you get when you're with someone for so long, every single day just drags and becomes a routine? Well, I just want something new and fresh, you know? Something vibrant that will make me feel alive again. I just need a new doll. What do you say? Does that sound like a brilliant plan to you?
I practically leap up from my chair and begin to vomit.
Took a while for that bile to build up.
What the hell is going on? Someone tell me I'm dreaming. There's no way this is real. I look back on the screen, only to see nothing. Like the whole thing was just a bad dream, or a figment of my imagination. What the hell just happened? I know I'm not going crazy. I immediately messaged my classmates in the group chat saying, "Please tell me you guys saw all of that. Did any of you see the pigman? We need to report him." Yeah, I briefly saw him, but then my video chat ended.
Same here. That was weird as hell.
Must have been a hacker. Thank God my screen went back to normal. Did you see anything, Terrence? I respond as nonchalantly as I can, saying, "Yeah, basically what you guys saw. I think it's best that we just put this behind us and move on from here, you know?" I didn't know if that was the right decision. I didn't want to further escalate the situation. Acknowledging the pigman's existence was one thing, but going into further detail about afterwards just felt unnecessary. This is the part where I wish the story ends.
What?
It's been a year since the incident. I ended up dropping out and taking the semester off due to the mental trauma.
Look at these cereals
I endured. I now work at a local retail store. I was coming home from work one day and I saw an envelope sitting in my mail slot. I open it and discover the most horrifying thing that sends shivers down my spine. It was a picture of my classmate Cindy, except she had no legs and no arms. The picture was titled Doll Number 21.
The fat man was my least favorite customer.
He's dressed like Peter Griffin.
You could smell him come in before you saw him. Nearly 7 feet tall and at least 400 pounds. The guy had a distinct smell. Something like cinnamon and burning hair. I didn't dislike the man because of his appearance or odor, though. No. I hated whenever the customer, Brad, came in because he ate his pizza like he was going to war. Brad would settle his bulk into a corner table, then order our largest deep dish pizza to start. That was his appetizer. He liked to work his way through our hot and ready menu. If a particular item caught his attention that day, he ordered double. His mid-meal break was a triple order of crazy bread, an order of wings, and all of this was washed down with liters of Diet Pepsi.
All right.
The way
y'all be taking me off. Y'all got all this food and have the audacity to be like, I'm gonna save a little calories with the beverage. If you don't get a regular...
Brad ate terrified children and ran off other customers. He hit the pizza harder than the Allies when they stormed Normandy Beach.
Oh my
Globs of sauce and chunks of crust went flying in every direction when Brad chewed. It was like someone set off a hand grenade inside of a lasagna. His shirt, cheeks, and table were splattered each session before he was halfway done. Anyone sitting within a dozen feet of Brad was in danger of being struck by debris. And the sounds he made when he ate. And I still have nightmares about the slurping, chomping, gurgling, moaning sounds.
Wait, what are we talking about?
Suffice to say, no one ever wanted to wait on Brad.
And then they couldn't, like, exert some type of policy, like, sir, you can eat inside, but please, watch the debris.
He visited our Little Caesars. So, as the manager, that duty usually fell onto me.
Right.
We tolerated Brad scaring away our other customers because there really wasn't a legal reason to ban him. That is, until one morning in January, when Brad waddled into the restaurant holding a small cooler, took his usual seat in the corner, and ordered every cheese pizza that we had in the kitchen. Brad, I think we've got about 80 pizzas cooling back there, I told him.
80?
How many do you actually want? 80 is a good start, but you'll need to keep them coming. I have an appetite today. What's in the cooler? Brad grinned. His teeth were awful.
Bro!
Just some toppings I brought from home. We don't really allow that. Do I need to register a complaint with Little Caesars main offices again? I sighed. Fine, whatever. Just don't make a mess. Brad lifted his cooler onto the table and started poking around inside while I walked back to the kitchen to give them his order.
Is it like some hamsters or something?
Diet Pepsi and first pizza, I nearly gagged when the smell from his cooler hit me. Inside of the box were dozens of plastic baggies arranged around a few ice packs. The baggies were smeared with a thick pinkish fluid and contained gray chunks of what I had to assume was meat. Whatever it was reeked like it was spoiled. You can't eat that, I said, setting Brad's order on his table. The food in your cooler has gone bad. Brad just smiled and popped one of the gray blobs into his mouth.
Get out. Brad, get out. We tolerated you. You flicking debris at customers. But you're not about to pop no gray blob into your mouth in front of me. We just not doing that.
Licked the pink fluid from his chin. I retreated before my stomach betrayed me.
Look how he's walking back, bro. This man is traumatized. Look how he walking back.
I retreated before my stomach betrayed me.
Sheesh.
The rest of the staff and I barricaded ourselves in the kitchen as well as we could. Every few minutes, I would run another pizza out like I was charging across a battlefield, dodging cannon fire. Brad's rotten toppings and wood chipper eating style scared away most of the customers immediately. One brave family tried to stick it out, sitting at the opposite end of the room. But Brad ended up choking on a slice of pizza, then coughing it up. The wad of dough and phlegm shot all over the tables and splattered the family. Brad started laughing, spraying more food. That was too much. I stormed over to Brad's table as the family left in disgust. "That's it. You're banned from Little Caesars," I shouted. Brad just continued to munch. "But I haven't finished." "Finish up then. Eat as much as you want and more. But after you leave today, you're banned permanently."
Nah.
Brad shrugged and thrust his empty glass at me. "Refill." The big man continued to eat for hours. I'd never seen him tear.
I mean, at the same time, the store is getting money. Like, this dude is spending like 5 times 80, $400 plus. And that's assuming those are all hot and readies, and that's before tax. They probably making more money than if he ordered a couple pizzas and left. They ain't making that much with all total customers of the day. But still, like, you're just doing too much, Brad.
Through pizza, wings, and crazy bread like he did that day. At one point, he slouched over, and I thought he was finally done.
About to die?
But then he popped up and beckoned me over with one swollen hand. I didn't know how Brad could possibly keep eating. The buttons had popped from his shirt, and his belly spilled over his legs.
This dude is an alien.
"I want to try some of my toppings warm," he said, nodding towards one of the disgusting baggies. "Toss those in the microwave for me." "Absolutely not." "If you do, I promise I'll leave here in the next hour." I pulled my shirt over my nose and tried to defend against the stench and gingerly picked up the baggie with a napkin. I hurried back to the kitchen, poured out the vile gunk into a bowl, and put it in the microwave.
Even did that.
The odor was overwhelming, and I knew we'd need to air out the kitchen for days to get rid of it. I immediately regretted listening to Brad's request. Maybe it was time to call the cops and have him tossed out. "More!" I heard him yell from the dining room. "Stack them high. And I need a refill." Since I was watching the microwave, my assistant manager Bianca was the one who had to run out the next tower of pizzas and a 2-liter. The microwave beeped, and I extracted the foul contents. When the steam cleared, I nearly dropped the bowl. Not because it was hot, but because outside of the little baggies, I could finally get a clear look at the toppings Brad had brought from home. Most were unrecognizable lumps of
Is that an
pink
ear?
brown, but one object was unmistakably, undeniably the bottom half of a human ear. I placed the bowl on the counter, my face cold with shock. Before I could decide how to react, there was a shriek from the dining room. I made it to the kitchen door just as Bianca came running inside, clutching her arm. At first, I thought she'd gotten pizza sauce all over her hand. There was so much red. Then, I realized all of her fingers on her left hand except for her index and thumb were gone. Nothing but raw stumps. "He bit me!" Bianca screamed.
She done lost 3 fingers over a minimum wage job. For the rest of her life, people just gonna think she's pointing at stuff.
"I tried to put the pizzas down for him and that monster snapped." I heard the sound of falling tables and a loud crash. Not one part of me wanted to go look, but I was the manager. The staff at Little Caesars
not
were
about to
counting
risk
on
my
me.
life.
"Wrap Bianca's hand in a towel and keep pressure on it," I instructed one of the cooks. "You, call 911, I said to another. "We need an ambulance and the police." I took a breath and walked out into the dining room to find Brad on the floor. He'd fallen from his chair and knocked the contents of his table everywhere. He had half of a pizza in his mouth, his jaws trembling as he chewed, and he was crawling towards another pile of slices. "What did you do?" I whispered. "What is wrong with you?" Brad spit out the pizza long enough to laugh. "She wouldn't have gotten so close to my food. You don't mess with a man's food." "My food!
Dropping it off.
Where are my toppings?" "What are they?" "Friends and family. I've been saving them up for a while. For something special." Brad army crawled on his elbows, dragging his distended gut along the tiles. He made it to a nearby pile of pizza and began devouring it. His whole body looked swollen as a blood-drunk tick. "The police are on their way, Brad." He nodded and started eating faster. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. The man shoveled food into his jaw, swallowing without chewing. I couldn't help but stare. Once all the pizza was gone, Brad laid on his belly, licking his fingers. "More," he demanded. "No. More." For someone that big, Brad crawled fast. He came at me, pulling his bulk along with his bloody fingernails. I ran, tipping over a table and crashing to the floor. There was a tug at my foot. Brad had a hand wrapped around my ankle. He dragged me towards him, and I reacted on reflex, kicking out. My shoe connected a crack, and Brad jerked away. His nose bent at an unnatural angle. "I said more," he growled, leaning on a table to stand up. But the table couldn't take his weight. The stand cracked when he was halfway standing, and Brad slammed into the floor, gut first. There was a horrible ripping sound, and I saw Brad's eyes go blank. He tried to rise again, but something was wrong. When he got to his hands and knees, it became clear that his body had finally burst from the pressure and the force of the fall. His stomach had a tear right around the belly button. Purple intestines and undigested pizza all spilled out into a wet pile on the floor.
Watching?
"So hungry," Brad whispered before collapsing. They had to bring in a professional disaster cleanup crew to dispose of the body and mop up the mess. We had to close the restaurant for 48 hours. To this day, Brad's last meal remains the second or third worst shift I've ever had managing at Little Caesars.
This dude said second or third worst. I was crazy. And I know what we just watched, but I'm definitely about to get a hot and ready after this. Black Steel Diner.
On a cold, dark night, around 2 in the morning, a young man and his father sat in a remote 24-hour diner waiting to be served.
This narrator got a nice voice. Guys, low-key, I feel like I have a great, narration voice. Check me out. There was a man. Stop making me laugh.
The older man, who was sadly, slowly going senile, had insisted on going out for some soup. Not having the energy to argue, the son took him out, for at least this way his father would be happy, and then he could get some peace and quiet.
Yeah.
The waiter walked over, welcomed them to the diner, and then asked if they were ready to order, to which they replied they were.
That looked
The
crazy.
waiter recommended for them to try the burgers.
Waiter looked crazy.
Best in the West, he said, with a smile that made their skin crawl. They declined and proceeded to order what they came for. The old man ordered tomato soup, and the son a coffee. When the waiter walked away, the son asked his father if he had thought the waiter looked familiar. Not surprisingly, the father said he had never seen him before. But why? He asked. The son proceeded to tell him that he thought he looked a lot like a man he saw on the news that was wanted for murder in another state. But he could easily be mistaken. This made the father quite uncomfortable, so he told his son to shut up and change the subject. Instead, the son then got up, told his father he was going to the bathroom and would be back in a minute. The father waited and waited. Almost 15 minutes had passed, and his son hadn't returned.
Bro, go check on him.
He also hadn't seen the waiter again. Where was his son? And where was his soup? Just as he finished asking himself,
"Where's my son? But more importantly, where's my soup?"
This, the waiter appeared with the soup.
Oh, that's blood.
Well, you took your time with that, the old man said.
Dang.
"I'm sorry, sir," said the waiter.
Old people.
We had some issues in the kitchen. Where's my son? The old man asked the waiter. Oh, I'm sure he's not far. I have a feeling you'll be seeing him really soon. And with this, he placed the bowl down on the table with a smile that would have given anyone the creeps. The old man turned to his soup and then dipped his spoon in to take his first mouthful. As he lifted the spoon, something else came with it.
Oh!
Some glasses. What the hell? He thought to himself. A horrible chill ran through his body when he realized whose glasses they were. His son's. The old man looked across at the waiter and was overcome with rage when he saw the waiter's sickly grin staring back
about
at
to
him.
Die now.
He grabbed a knife, leapt out of his seat, and stabbed the waiter in the chest. The blade went straight through his heart, and while bleeding profusely all over the floor, he died.
Boy.
Right at this moment, the son appeared from the kitchen and screamed at his father, "No!
What?
have you done? It was a prank. We were playing a prank." The old man couldn't believe what he was hearing. A prank? But he's a... Oh my God, he thought to himself as the reality quickly set in. I've killed him. The father and son had to act quickly. They grabbed the body and decided to stash it in the cool room.
Yo! No! Call the police! No, that's on y'all, alright? That ain't on the dad!
To buy them some time. They would then clean the floor
Y'all
and
play too
disappear,
much.
as if they had never been there.
Y'all princes everywhere.
Perfect, they thought. There were no witnesses and no one to stop them. Well, that's what they thought, until they slid back the door to the cool room and were greeted by a sight so shocking it made both of them wish they were dead. They had disturbed the waiter's brother, hard at work, making meat for burgers. The best in the West, apparently. Not that they would ever know.
That was the cleanest double twist I've ever seen in my life.